Hello and welcome to the Ladies Best Life podcast. I have got an absolute legend with me today. And I've known this guy for some time. He's got a local business here in Shrewsbury, and today we're going to be talking about it. So Andy, welcome to the Ladies Best Life.
Thank you very much. You all right?
I am so good, thank you.
Excellent.
How are you?
I'm good. Are we going to keep this clean? We talked about that.
No,
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Excellent.
That is-
I went to one podcast and he was a lovely guy, but it was like no swearing, nothing like that. So it was quite difficult and quite a bit of cutting was involved. But like I said, I interviewed Paul Mort recently and holy shit. Yeah, there was a lot of bad language in that. So yes, I haven't seen you for ages.
I know.
Well, I've seen you virtually everywhere.
Good, that's very good to be omnipresent.
Things look amazing.
Yeah, and you. So the last time I was here was probably 5 years ago.
I can't believe that.
And it was, how did you describe it?
Trying to think now. It looked like a council office before. I remember that. Pine furniture everywhere. But when most marketing agencies got rid of most of their staff in lockdown, we sort of doubled down, kept everyone and invested in the office and transformed the whole place. So our branding everywhere, pool table, that's probably been the best thing ever. Beer fridge, we try and finish early on a Friday, have some pool, have some beers. And just want to make it a proper experience for clients because, you know, you can sell on services and I offer this, I do web design, I do social media, blah, blah, blah. But to an extent, so does everyone else. But your experience can be unique. So when people come here, hopefully they're like, this is brilliant. Or to be honest, they'll either think this is brilliant or they'll think, what a load of shit. Why has he got a picture of Darth Vader on the wall? And they won't be the ideal client. And that's what probably lockdown taught us the most. And I should know better at my age, but you can't appeal to everyone.
100%. Like, it's a surprise that really landed for you in lockdown with how many years you've been doing this.
Long time. 50 now. Do you know that?
Wow.
Unbelievable. So yeah, been doing this over 25 years. But I think deep down, a lot of people, they want to, whether it's ingrained in you as humans, I don't know, but from an early age, I think you're taught to almost like people please. And so I know who our ideal customer is, but I sort of think, well, what if I could also serve and help those other people? And yeah, lockdown, we lost 80% of our business overnight with lockdown. So we learned the hard lesson there was the people we bent over backwards to help the most, they didn't think twice about canning us when the shit hit the fan. So not that lockdown was good, but it taught us some lessons that have served us well since lockdown. So.
Wow, I've got so many questions. So first question, why, when you lost 80% of your business, when we're going into lockdown, fuck knows how long it's going to be, it seemed quite scary. Why at that point did you zig when everyone else was zagging? Why did you invest and create this amazing space when everyone else was giving their office leases up?
Stubborn, really. I think that's probably it. Mum used to say stubborn from birth, but I take that as a compliment now.
100%.
No, Mark Twain said hundreds of years ago, when you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect. And not that you want to be different just for the sake of it, but if you see a lot of your competitors doing one thing, it's to stop and look and see if there's opportunity in what they're not doing. And to be honest, I didn't want to have to lay off our guys. So we furloughed a couple, but generally speaking, we were able to all work from home and keep the business going and build it up again. And that's, when we took the opportunity to think, fuck it, in for a penny, in for a pound. And marketing, well, business, everything you do is an investment, and some things will work, some things will work brilliantly, some things won't work as well. But hopefully you end up in the black. More is lost by indecision than the wrong decision. So we went all in. Okay, the pool table was unnecessary, but to have a client over, play a game of pool, it's pretty cool.
Richard Branson would disagree.
Oh, go on.
He used to have board games and everything in his sales room. Apparently, when they were like, we want you all to connect with each other, camaraderie, have some play, have some fun, because then you're going to be more lighthearted. It's going to feel very different. So actually, I think you're doing good there.
Nice. Joel bought me a board game for Christmas. He got really upset when he realised I put it on eBay. So I'm not a board game player, but I must have told him, I think, like I took the kids to see Jumanji, the rock version, and we loved it. And so he bought me the Jumanji board game. And so I put it on eBay. But then I felt so bad. I made 20 quid in it, but I gave that to charity. So
I love that. Yeah, that's hilarious.
But yeah, I know, quite a few marketing agencies, the big ones in the cities, they've got the bean bags and the slides and the sleeping pods and all that. And we didn't want to go to that extreme, but I think the pool table is pretty cool. So again, part of the experience, like the people you talk to, to be different. The people people can never compete with you on the experience you provide because it's unique.
100%.
So why lockdown for you then? Because obviously, were you still gym training, or had you gone online by then? Or?
Yeah, so when lockdown hit, it was obviously super scary for us because we were 3 personal trainers working under one umbrella in the gym. So I was starting On Form Academy at the time, which was an online program. We had 70 members, but they were being charged like £10 per person. And actually, when I looked at the figures a few years later, we were in a deficit for quite a long time with it. So that was what was going on. Lockdown hit, and we just basically went, everyone's on Zoom. So I spent 8 to 10 hours every single day throughout the first kind of 12 months of lockdown on Zoom in my spare room. I created some like little classes online, got a few people going there, heightened up the academy. And then every time, so I think the gyms reopened 3 times in a year, was it? Or twice?
Oh, yeah, I lost count now, yeah.
But I remember thinking, oh, okay, so then went back to the gym, then went back online, then went back to the gym. And when I finally went back to the gym, I was like, I fucking hate this.
And this is 1-to-1 in the gym?
Yeah, I hated it. I just got to the point where it just wasn't fulfilling anymore. I knew I'm a bit weird, and some people, this will really land. Like, I always know I'm capable of more.
Right.
My high achieving tendencies, my high performing, like I always want to do more. I'm not necessarily I'm not a perfectionist because I don't give a fuck if it's perfect or not. I do it my way, and if it's good enough, it's good enough. But actually, like, expansion and thinking where else I can go, that's me. So went back in the gym, I think it was for like 6 weeks, and then all the numbers started to rise again, and it came to the 30th of October, and they announced, or somewhere around that time, 2021, and they announced that we were going into another lockdown or whatever it was. And I was like, yes, we're going into another lockdown. And the partner I was with at the time, he was like, do you not think it's a bit weird that you're like, yes, when your main kind of bread and butter is being put at risk? I was like, I just can't do it anymore. I can't go and stand next to, I didn't have a client called Sheila, but we'll call her Sheila, stand next to a client called Sheila chatting about something that, like, I want them to get results. I want them to benefit. I don't want you just to rock up and have a chat. So that at that point, I was following my mentor, who is still my mentor now, 4 years. 4 years I'd kind of like reached out to him a number of times and always kind of pussied out, and I'd looked at his results and thought, I can't get what he's saying. I can't impact that amount of people in this world. I can't make that much money. It's impossible when you're in person. And I thought, you know what? Fuck it. Let's see what we can do. Let's have a chat. And I did, and then I signed up there, and that's when I created the coaching club.
Nice.
So coaching club is it's an online wellness program. And we cover everything to do with the busy modern day woman. So mindset, physique, nutrition, stress management tools, like absolutely everything for women who are either kind of investing so much time into their kids, so much time into their career, or both, both those things together, and they've just dropped to the bottom of the priority pile. So that's what we're doing now, and it's unreal. I want to go back to something you said earlier because it really lands with the audience of this podcast, and it's people pleasing.
Ah, yes.
So talk to me about that in your life.
So for me, a lot of it, I'd say most of it probably came from my dad. So my dad was a doctor, and he ultimately sacrificed a lot to look after his patients, and he got a lot of gratitude for it, but he also got a lot of shit for it. So one thing these guys hear me say a lot is you're only as good as your last prescription.
Yes.
And my dad told me that a long time ago, when as long as he carried on signing off someone sick or giving them their pain meds, he was like a god. But the moment he said, I think you can go back to work now, Mr. Smith, all that good work was out of the window. And a lot of people are still like that now in business. But he, no matter what happened to him, the shit that was thrown at him, being, on call in the middle of the night, having to leave Christmas lunch to go out and see someone who just turned out to be hungover, he just never lost sight of what he signed up to be a doctor for. So he was a people pleaser. But I suppose as a doctor, you don't have a choice who you can help. As business owners, we do. And I can't just help everyone. And even though, people might come to us and say, I need help with my marketing. If they're not a good fit, if I don't think I'm best placed to serve them, I'm just being honest to say, no, they're better solutions. It might be a freelance or whatever it might be. So I'd probably say for every 3 businesses that reach out to us, we probably say no to 1 or 2 of them, because it's got to be right. But it's still hard because I desperately want to help people. You know, one guy come to us and he had a few struggles in life, but it's like, no, I've got to think, and that's hard sometimes. And my mum would turn around, oh, I don't know what your father would say. Oh, you know, you're there to help people, and it's like, oh God, you know. But mum, I suppose, has never run a business. Yeah. But I think a lot of it, you know, just comes from evolutions in your genes, or maybe it does come from, you know, your how you're brought up. And yeah, my dad, you know, spent a lot of time with him. He passed away 9 years ago now, but he taught me a lot and taught me a lot about serving people. But it's not nice to see someone get done over a few times, and you think, don't want that to happen to me, because it's quite hard as a kid to see that happen to your parent. And yeah, so I still struggle with it now and had to work very hard on it, because I know every time my body says, no, help everyone, because you want them to love you. And it's just no. So, but then I talked to some super successful entrepreneurs, multimillionaires, and still some people get through the chinks in their armour. Even David Goggins said on Instagram a few months ago that sometimes someone will say something on social media and it'll even get through to him. And if David Goggins ain't, you know, impregnable, then I've got no chance. So, but, you know, probably like yourself, we have to do a lot of work on our thinking, and the fact that when you market yourself properly, you have to stick your head above the parapet, which means you will attract a percentage of the trolls, the keyboard tough guys. And yeah, so we've had people who have a go at us because we don't reply to a message, or because sometimes we say, no, sorry, we're not the best fit. Trying to do the right thing, we're not the best fit for you. And then they go onto socials and say, oh, fucking Andy Rowe's got his head up his arse. And it's like, but that's the way it goes. But it is a small percentage, isn't it? So.
Yeah, and they do generally say if you're not getting torn down by a couple of people every week, then you're not doing well enough. You know,
do you get a bit of in the fitness industry? Do you get a bit of? Do people join your program and expect to like be a size 6 in a month, or yeah. Right? Okay.
But so, we're very good at managing because of previous mistakes.
You qualify.
We qualify, but we also manage expectations, and we like the word responsibility is said a lot in the very first 7 days, because we ain't a magic fucking pill.
Right,
we're not a quick fix. We're going to teach you how to do this properly, so you never have to diet. You don't need a personal trainer stood there counting your reps. You don't need any of a quick fix plan. This is your life now. We are ingraining a new lifestyle. It's so different. But obviously people see the before and afters that I share. They read all the big stories and how it's changed so-and-so's life, and they want it now because they're in so much pain, which I completely get. But we are very good at, which has taken 2.5 years to develop, but really robusting ourselves against that we can be held at fault for something that is completely in their hands. We're just there as education, you know. So you said earlier you've had to work a lot on your thinking. What have you done to work on your thinking?
Got a coach.
Yeah.
Did I ever think I'd need a coach? Maybe there's a bit of me who says I don't need a coach. I know a lot about marketing, been doing it long enough, but came to realise that you can have the best marketing strategy in the world. If you haven't got the mindset to drive it all, to stick your head above the parapet, to deal with people who might not like what you're trying to do, you need to protect yourself a bit. So gave up drinking for 2.5 years. That was a big one. So I'm all for, like, you know, dry January, and if you want to give up for a month. But I think, again, not a doctor, there must be a point where you give up something for a certain amount of time and then it's almost done. And for 2.5 years, I didn't drink. So now, finally, if I want to drink, I can have one. And that's it. Whereas before, I'm not saying I was like really pisshead, but me and my wife liked a few drinks a week. So, but that was a big thing. So like clarity every morning, and how I start my day now is important. You know, journaling, meditation. I realised after lockdown, having a business challenge, well, running a business is always a challenge, but I realised I could think clearer if I also had a challenge outside of work. So I signed up for the fan dance last year, the SAS fan dance. And that was the hardest thing physically and mentally I've done. But I raised some money for Pancreatic Cancer UK for that. And then I've got into their London Marathon team this year. So that's my challenge at the moment. But it's ongoing. You know, Zig Ziglar said something about, it wasn't about your mindset, but it's about, what was it about? Business growth or learning or something. It's like bathing. You got to do it daily to see the benefit. And so every day it's like, what can I do to work on myself? Where can my focus be? Because if you put your focus on the wrong shit, the negative shit, the doom scrolling, you're just not going to be able to best serve the people you want to help. Which, you know, you asked me that 5 years ago, I would have said, what a load of bollocks. You know, chanting in a forest naked. None of that. This is all practical stuff, but it's real. And again, there are people I admire who will talk about the benefits of journaling or meditation. You think, well, fucking hell, if they're all doing it, like the, you know, the commonalities of these people you admire, maybe there is something in it. So not being so proud you won't give it a go. And we sort of realise that some people aren't coachable. They don't think like that. And again, that those are people we can't help. They think they want to be coached, but no, you already know everything. And there's one in every mastermind, you know, in every sort of group. There's always that one person who like, yeah, you know it all. Why are you here? Why are you paying money? But yeah, so it's and it's been great, you know. So, you know, married now over 20 years. So, you know, that takes work. So me and Emma, we're in this together, run the business together. She journals like crazy, and she would have thought probably even more than me that it was bollocks. But yeah, she's fully on board with it, and it's all. Life's too short to just be about paying the bills. So what can you focus on that's going to motivate you, inspire you, drive you forward, help people, and the secondary the result of that is earning more money.
Yes.
But if earning more money, we found for our clients, if their number one, their sole goal is earning more money, we might not be the right fit. Sounds like we won't be the right fucking fit for anyone. Thinking back now what I've said.
So we've got to like Darth Vader. Everyone's doing it for the money.
Yeah, got to like dinosaurs.
Coachable and, yeah, receptive. So do you think you were, because you said, because I remember we had a chat about Paul Mort, didn't we?
Yeah,
And
Mr. Mort.
You know, what do you think? Is it going to be good for me to do? And we had a bit of a chit chat. And you seemed hesitant. So were you one of those people, not necessarily the like, I know it all type people, but what was holding you back? What was scaring you?
His energy, as in like he's loud, for want of a better word, very loud, very sweary, and I can, you know, I've done, you know, spoken on stage, I can network, all that, but sort of one of those people. If I was like holding court, for want of a better word, in a meeting, and someone really loud came in, I know I'd had to fight really hard against the urge to sort of shrink into myself a bit, and sort of like sit at the back. And Paul's very much like that. But I was like, he's really helped some people. He's come from, you know, he's had some challenges for sure. And I can't let the fact that he's not the opposite of me, but very different to me, stop me from at least looking further. You recommended him. And I was like, right, well, let's give it a go. And he's been brilliant. And some of the people he hangs around with, you know, he says, to play the A game, you've got to hang around with other people playing the A game. And that's hard. That's hard because that's something else my mum hates. That, you know that thing like, who do you think you are? Oh, remember where you came from?
Too big for your boots.
Yeah. And so many people I speak to, they're like, oh God, yeah, my mum used to say that to me. And don't, you know, your granddad, you know, worked in the mines and all this. And it's, and so, yeah, so it's interesting, but you know, you're the average of the 5 people you hang around with, and so that's something we've done as well. And that's probably off the back of some of the work we've done in Nepal. But you know, it's just to be around high energy people is great. You know, your energy is insane as well, and it's fantastic because they're drains and radiators. You know, I was speaking to Lucy Lord, who's like, you know, pretty big. And she was talking about Paul Mort, just saying, God, his energy, you know, he just walks into it. When you start talking to him, you just feel happier being in his presence, and that's a good thing to have in your life.
And you'll always, if you are a radiator, you'll always be potentially judged, criticised, ridiculed by the drains, because it's like a lack of understanding, isn't it? And I've actually got a reel going out about this because it's like, through a lot of my life, I've been told like, oh, you're just a bit much, aren't you? Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, your energy's like just mad. And
is that women or men or both?
Both.
Right.
And I've been told by my mum, hope she's not listening, the more with mum, she's gone more down the route of don't get too big for your boots, don't forget your roots, don't forget where you came from. And I'm like, you know what? I get that, but actually, like, that's where I'm going. So I will never forget my roots. I'll always stay humble. I'll always be grateful. But actually, you know, I am going to shift on from that. because you were in Expert Empires as well, weren't you?
Yeah, so yes, I'm going to their event in March.
Nice.
So Joe Wicks is one of the speakers. Trying to think who the others. Obviously, Nick will be speaking. So I did Expert Empires for a year. Still talk to them quite a bit, but you can't be everywhere. So we're in with Paul. Do a couple of other things, but yeah, we can't. We basically had no time in the office at all. We're doing this, that, everything. But in terms of learning about the selling process, because we're marketers. But obviously, to market, you need to know to sell, you need to know to close, and Expert Empires are really good at helping out on that side of things because closing, like getting the money in the bank, that is a skill, and that's something else from lockdown. Right? Processes, I fucking hate processes, spreadsheets, all that shit. But it's one of those necessary evils. But luckily, my business partner, he's great at process, so we, work well together. So Expert Empires we did. Done a couple of other things over the years, but in terms of mindset work, has it only been Paul? Yeah, I guess it has really. But you see so many people online and webinars and stuff. It seems like everyone's a mindset expert. So for us, I thought, right, I've got to plant my flag in the sand somewhere.
Yep.
Went to Paul, did my due diligence. Love the man. He's been nothing. So his main motto is do what you said you would.
Yep.
And I thought it would come up with such a simple fucking motto. And then I realised no one does what they fucking said they would. And so it's like, holy shit. So if you do that, you're 99% of the way there. And I thought, right, that's it. I'm in with him. And so one of our values is keep your word, which is pretty much the same as do what you said you would. But so many people don't. Oh yeah, I'll have that to you tomorrow, Andy.
Never.
No, it's never. Yeah, I'll turn up at 12 o'clock. It turns up at 2 o'clock. And, if someone says, I'll deliver that to you, Sasha, by midday Thursday, you're going to be genuinely surprised if it does turn up midday Thursday. That's where we are in the world now. So if you can actually do what you said you would, in like Flynn, and hopefully that's part of the experience we provide to our customers as well, that we said, right, we'll get you your social media report by end of play Friday, and it's there end of play Thursday.
Yes.
It's
Over
like,
deliver.
wow, absolutely. And I think sometimes when a supplier's got your money, they disappear. It's like my brother, right? So he lives in Vietnam, so he's got a son now, and he's applied for a passport for his son. They took the money 2 months ago, straight away, first day, took the money out of his bank account. 2 months later, nothing. They haven't even talked to like the Liverpool passport office to sort anything. And it's like, so quick to take the money, and then don't need to worry about it now. And that annoys me, because I'd say most of the business owners we speak to reach out to us, they've been ripped off before.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's a challenge for us to get over that, but to show that that's we're not a marketing agency. We're like the anti-agency. We don't want to be associated with con artists, bullshit merchants. Obviously not that all of them are, but let's face it, there's a bit of a rep in our industry that I'll build you a fancy new website, and maybe they will, maybe they won't, but it won't get them any more customers. And so there's a lot. But then where you're sitting, there's one of my favourite quotes: anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80.
Yep.
I've met 20-year-olds who think they know it all, and I just always want to be hungry to learn, to get a job at Codebreak. That's the key ingredient to all. Your case, fitness, nutrition, things probably always changing, always learning. What can I learn to better serve clients? And maybe that can mean putting your fees up at the same time. But just all about serving people, doing something you love, and getting financially rewarded for it.
Definitely. And we're quite the same in that we're almost on a crusade against other people in our industry.
What's a big pet peeve in your industry then? What
Diets.
Overnight, you mean?
Just any. So
Quick fix.
Slimming World, Cambridge, Keto, Juice Plus. Name any of the crash diets.
What's the big one at the moment? What's the big keto? That's
Herbalife is quite big at the minute. They're all ketos.
No pizza, pasta, no carbs. Is that right?
Carbs. Yeah.
So what's the difference in that and Atkins?
All meat. I don't think you can really have much.
Fucking
I
hell.
know. And I think it's mostly red meat.
No wonder they all look so miserable then.
Oh, fuck it. But when it like...
We had pizza for lunch.
Oh,
it's
God,
great.
Sounds good.
Oh,
Sounds
it's amazing.
But and that's... So mine is diets. Because the main reason why is because of the place it leaves them in. It leaves the women in. So they go in, they're like, okay, so I think Cambridge is £150 a week, I think.
A week?
Yep.
Shit.
They get given all their food though. It's what people.
Is this shakes or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Milks, right?
And like
no.
so, like dust version of spaghetti bolognese and stuff. It's in packets.
So just low calorie. Really,
Yes,
is that right?
And like it's got all artificial like nutrients and stuff in it. It's a load of shit, right? So they go in. They're obviously like Sheila's looking in the mirror. She's 4 stone overweight. She's like, fuck, I go on holiday in like 6 weeks' time. I need to do something. So she goes on Cambridge. She does Cambridge. She goes on holiday. She's 4 stone lighter because you can lose it like that on Cambridge. She gains weight. She's back in square one. Like, she's back at the very beginning. And then she's like, oh, I just can't do it. I can't do this. This life isn't for me. Because it's a temporary fix to a long-term solution that's needed. It's a long-term problem. It's a long-term way ahead, hopefully. So we need that long-term. But people just want that instant gratification. And it actually links to something you've said a couple of times. So one is the fact that you journal, you meditate. Even Emma does it as well, which maybe from an identity aspect, you never would have assumed yourself doing that before. Then from the business side of things, you're now kind of delving into the numbers so much more and you're tracking stuff, which I'm with you on that. I fucking hate it. But Tia, one of our our head coach, she is so numbers. And like we sit together, she nurtures me on it and I'm all like vision expansion and all the crazy
Excellent.
stuff. She's like having to keep the reins on me. And so we work so well together. But what I wanted to touch upon, which also links to one of your mottos and Paul Mort's, is so why is it, do you think, that people struggle to do the things? So we all can see Rob Moore, Obama, like whoever is on your pedestal, you know, those inspirational people to us. Stephen Bartlett is one of mine, who will always be the case, not just because of his looks either, but also like, why is it that we know what they're doing? Why don't we do it?
I think there's a lot of entitlement, a lot of lack of responsibility. I see a lot, which bugs me, but it's just the way it is. That I don't know whether it's social media's fault or whatever, but people don't seem to be willing to put in the work. So Benjamin Franklin said that energy and persistence conquer all things, and most people, they just haven't got the energy and they're not persistent and consistent enough with their efforts. So I talked to you before this about podcasts, that a client might approach us and say, I want to launch a podcast. Why? To get more customers. I said, don't do it then, because it will take you like years. Oh, well, that's not fair. And that's not, no. Well, life's not fair, but you got to fucking do it. You got to put in the work. So, you know, about how many years it takes to become an overnight success. Social media does make it look easy to become successful really quick, and of course it can happen. But an interesting thing that happened with my teenage daughters. It's probably about 5 years ago. So they're probably. Fucking hell, I'm trying to think now. I told you I was no good with numbers. They'd probably say about 12 and 9 at the time. And they used to follow these guys on YouTube called the Dobre brothers. And they're multimillionaires, drove about in their Lamborghinis. And they did 2 YouTube videos a week, right? Every Tuesday and Thursday, say, religiously. And my girls are like, they're multimillionaires because of YouTube. We're on YouTube. Can we? Right, okay, tell me the plan. Well, if we do videos like twice a week, we could become multimillionaires because the Dobre brothers can do it. And it looks really easy. I says, I bet you anything, a lot of work goes into it. No, dad. So anyway, so I supported them. We set up a YouTube channel. I said, right, you've got to make 2 videos a week, do the editing and put them out there, right? Guess how long they lasted?
Not even a week.
They did about 3 weeks.
Oh, wow, okay.
I was like, see, that's why the Dobre brothers are multimillionaires. Oh, but Dad, you know, I've got school and I've got... No, that's not accepting responsibility. You've got to take responsibility for it. Like we had a member of staff here, ex-member of staff, and nothing was ever her fault. Oh, well, it's not fair because, you know, youngsters can't afford to buy a house now, so I've got to live with my mum, until Joel said, I'm the same age as you. I've got my own house. And believe me, Joel's background's a lot tougher than hers. And it's like, yeah, just I think that entitlement responsibility, I don't know if it's the same thing, but you almost get rewarded sometimes by saying, oh, life's not fair. I've worked so hard to be successful. And everyone chips in on social media. Oh, that's such a shame. You're so right, hun. And that makes it sound it's just women. It's not. Oh, yeah. And it's like, no, you need some reality. And that's why, like, so, you know, sometimes a client will say to us, oh, I've done this video, for example. I'm going to put it on LinkedIn to ask for people's feedback. I said, no, you're paying me. I'll give you honest feedback.
Yes.
And I've got the experience. You put it on LinkedIn. What's going to happen is all your LinkedIn connections, because, again, we're nice and people pleasers by design, they're going to post, oh, that's amazing, that's brilliant. That's not what you need to hear. You need constructive criticism based on someone with experience because, yeah, when someone says, I've setbacks and failures are different. But I failed at something. Well, that's okay. Dust yourself off. Get on with it again. But it can almost be reinforced when people say, no, it's okay to be failure. Things are tough at the moment. The war in Ukraine, the sunflower oil crisis, the coal crisis, whatever crisis. Yeah, you're right, actually. There's nothing to do about it. It's not my fault. And I could go on a rant about this. But two teenage daughters, same thing about, some things in life are hard, but the responsibility for your happiness, for your fulfillment, for your growth, for your money is not all down to you. Sometimes, maybe you really had a hard background, whatever it might be, but you've got to accept some responsibility and be prepared to put in the work. So another quote we've got in the other room is The Rock about, stay humble, stay hungry, and always be the hardest worker in the room. Yeah. And when I look at him on Instagram, he's here, he's there, he's in meetings, he's selling this, he's launched an energy drink, he's doing another film, he's producing. Holy shit. But there are people out there who are like, oh, The Rock, he's so lucky. He's so lucky. It's like, oh my God, you wouldn't last. People say the same thing about the Queen as well. Now, whether you're a royalist or not, it's like, she was there in the 80s doing 300 engagements a year. I can think of a ton of business owners that be like, fucking hell, I couldn't do that. They talk about breakfast networking. Oh, I'm doing that. I'm getting up at 7 a.m. once a week. Oh, I can't do that. And it's like, well,
wow.
Maybe
it's
that's
like Paul Mort says, when you're pointing a finger at someone, you've got 3 pointing back at you.
That's good. I've heard that.
Yeah, and it's always the way. And it's so, because I also think that you generally, maybe generally's too far, but yeah, I'm going to go with it. You generally find people who've had hardship in their lives, who've had the rocky roads, who've had setback after setback, they actually seem to accept responsibility more than people who've been on a smooth journey but are playing the victim and who think life is unfair. That's what I've noticed. Quite a big commonality is that the people who've genuinely been through serious trauma when they're children, they've maybe been through a divorce, it's been brutal, they're the ones who are like, yep, it's cool. Because it's almost like it puts it into context. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, this is nothing. This setback in business, well, duh, it's business. That is what it's all about. Like people, I'm sure they're the same with you, but people look at how I live my life now. Bearing in mind I was a PT before, so on the gym floor, 12 hours a day, graft, no freedom, not really that great results. It was just, do all the time. And I'm sure we had a chat about you need to be working on your business so much more than in your business. And now I get to do that. But it's, it's podcasts, it's expansion, it's like going and connecting with people, it's all the stuff that people don't see. But they also think, oh, look at that, Life O'Reilly. And it's like, oh man, if you I think business owners, we generally have this understanding. Like, I get you. I hear you. I know what it's like when you can't fucking sleep at night. I know what it's like when you're like your absolute back's against the wall and you haven't been paid for months. And, we've all been there, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to the point now where I struggle to have conversations with people who aren't in business, which is really bad. So if me and Emma go to a dinner party, and in Shropshire, a lot of people work for the public sector. So we're at a dinner table and everyone works for the NHS or the council. And I don't really know what to say. And it's a bit tricky, which is why most of the people I hang around with are business owners, because they understand it. But then me and my brother have an ongoing joke, because, he's in Vietnam, he's a teacher, very, very, very good, very successful teacher. But he'll always make jokes about, business owners dodging taxes. I'll make jokes about, working half the year, 9 till 3. But at the end of the day, he couldn't be a business owner, and fuck me, I couldn't be a teacher either.
Yes.
So it, it works well. But yeah, what I suppose people see that highlight reel of social media. And I'm not one for public vulnerability. So I tend not to post stuff about things going bad. I just won't post. And there's no right or wrong about it. But I won't post bullshit either. I won't stand next to a Lamborghini and try and pretend it's mine. And we know that goes on. But it goes on because so many people fall for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's a challenge.
That is the Cambridge fat loss of the business.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's
okay.
the instant gratification, the shiny object. It's exactly the same.
So does any diet work then, or they're just not? Unless you just diet forever, they're not sustainable.
They're not. Well, you can make. So, for example, you could take principles of keto Right, and because you're reducing your carbohydrate intake. So you could then see a bit of a reduction in your caloric intake, okay? But you're not following the diet through and through. If you look at Cambridge, it is unsustainable. Slimming World, I had a lady who joined in the middle of January, like such a lovely lady. She's like, oh, so I've tried Slimming World, and the last time I went, I stood on the scales and I tried really hard all that week, and I basically starved myself on Monday and Tuesday because I knew I was getting weighed on Tuesday night.
Oh God, public ways.
Public
Oh
ways.
bloody hell.
Stood on the scales, right? And she had gained weight, and the lady said to the rep or whatever her name is, said to her, do you want to turn around and tell the group what you've done wrong?
Shit. Oh, excuse me. Oh my God. Is that like a script or just a really bad Slimming World person?
I hope it's the latter.
Holy moly.
But like
Wow.
to be ridiculed and shamed
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the fact that she might not have been for a shit yet. You know?
Wow. Bloody hell. So do most people approach you because they want to lose weight and the other stuff's a bonus, or is that a case of that's what they think they want, but it's other stuff as well?
Yeah, so I'm not just here for, I've never been the type of girl to just do something for the sake of it.
Right.
So weight loss just for the sake of it, what's the fucking point? Where's your intrinsic motivation for that? Where are you, like when it's pissing it down outside, you could be slightly hungover. Why are you going to get up and go for that run just so you're lighter on the scales tomorrow? And I'm not going to shame you if you're not. I'm just going to figure out why, you know. Why is it that you haven't lost weight this week? Is there something going on? Is it time of the month? You know, we dig a little bit deeper.
So is it women only? Do you do men's?
No, women
Right,
only.
okay.
We will contemplate opening up a men's group because what we deliver is it in a different way, because we help like people pleasers, bottom of the priority pile, women who want to kind of bring up children and work at the same time. There are slightly different circumstances that it would need to be for a man.
Right.
Not hugely, but there are definitely. And I'm teaming up with a guy as well who's working with men to do with toxic positivity and
Oh, what's that then?
toxic masculinity. Sorry.
Oh,
So like,
okay.
you know, macho men who.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of like people, especially men at the
It's all about me, Sash.
Hey?
It's all about me.
But they're
Oh, I
being
wish.
shot down. Like men are being shot down at the minute because they don't know how to kind of manage their emotions, or if they act in a certain way, they get called alpha. Alpha is the word.
Oh, right. So Ant Middleton right. Oh, okay.
So the guy I'm working with is called Denny Denham.
Denny.
Yeah.
I know Denny.
Do ya?
Yeah, he's on the bloody torture me on Penny Fan with the fan dance.
So who do you do that with? Do you do that with Ollie then?
Yeah, so Ollie Ollerton. So obviously he only lives down the road.
Yeah.
He's mates with an ex-member of staff's dad, but then Paul Morton knew him as well. And so the fan dance was organised by Ollie's team. So Ollie was around somewhere. I did see him somewhere out there, but to be honest, I was very cross-eyed most of it. But yeah, so yes, Denny. Right, how do you know Denny then?
So a client of mine works up at Plash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they live in Plash, don't they? They live at the holiday lets there. So my client's called Jill, and she was like, you've got to go there and see them. You've got to go see them. She does all my massages. She's amazing if you need anyone to massage you. And I just connected with Lisa, his wife, on Instagram, and we started sending a couple of messages, got chatting, and he's actually doing a self-defense class for us in March, and we're doing a whole weekend with them in Plash in June.
Okay, no, because is he ex-Marine, is he?
Yeah, ex-Marine.
Yeah.
Got some fucking unreal stories. Like, just, you know, when you can just sit there and listen to someone for
Yeah,
hours,
yeah.
and they're just unreal. So,
I was hoping to get a couple of those DSs from the fan dance onto the podcast, because met some really scary but sound guys. But yeah, oh cool. So that's Watch Your Space then, is it?
Yeah, it won't be for a while. We're still working on the coaching club as it is.
Right.
We're going to add in a new level of like kind of you know, like I don't know if Paul has this, like different tiered programs.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're going to add a new tier that's like slightly, you know, new levels, new devils, different thinking, more kind of, these women are the trailblazers. They really want to impact the children, the nieces and nephews, like whoever it is in their life, because we're not just working on, like we said, fat loss. It's about generational trends. So it's women who are, you know, people pleasers, bottom of the priority pile. Husband maybe a little bit, I don't like to use this word lightly, but like controlling a little bit, and like what you spend your money on, and there's a few bits of that going on.
So have they all got challenges with their weight, or some of them no weight's not?
Some don't. So we're 80-20.
Right,
So
okay.
80% of the women who join want to lose, even if it's from £5 to 5 stone.
Right. Okay.
You know, but so the other 20%, they come in, they're just not feeling great in themselves. So really common line is, I just don't feel good in my skin. Just don't feel good.
Right, wow.
And usually the very first thing that we have to, because we operate from the health first standpoint,
Right.
which Johnny Wilkinson talks about quite a lot. So rather than diets go in at fat loss first, that's their key kind of objective.
Yeah.
We're like, hang on a minute, you can go on any diet and be unhealthy. Your teeth can fall out with certain diets. You can like mess your digestive system up long term. Metabolism, hair can fall out. Like we've heard all the horror stories. So we don't want to go in at that angle. So a bit like what you said earlier, if you focus on your mindset, the business kind of numbers, the money takes care of itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
We go in health first angle. We look at building you accountable, building your energy levels up, supporting you through the hardship of life, which will always happen. And as a byproduct, the weight loss will take care of itself.
So who can't you help them? What are the warning bells that start dinging like nobody's business when someone approaches you?
This better fucking work.
Oh, right, okay.
Desperation.
Right, okay.
Not going to help you.
Miracle cure.
Yep. Also, that responsibility line, which is hard, but you can listen, like you can hear in the way that they speak, there's certain things like they've tried everything. And they're like, yeah, but she was this and this was this. And it's like...
There's one common denominator there, yeah.
Yeah. So
Bloody hell, you should be in our team meeting this morning. We talked exactly about this, about setting expectations, about those warning bells and like, oh yeah, I've been to, I've used 10 marketing agencies before and they've all been shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's what we'll generally notice on. Obviously, with age range, we don't really, that's not really a thing for us. We generally 30s to 40s is the age that we generally tend to attract. But we've had people down from the age of 18 all the way up to 62. So it's more the personality types. It's the tenacious, the driven. They know they're capable of more. They know they want more from life. Snapping at the children, or just kind of like, like Paul Mort says as well, sleeping awake.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not really conscious in your activities.
Yep.
So that's what we help. And we don't think, you might disagree, but we don't think an age can really be put on that.
No, absolutely.
We found it works. It works well. So what are your plans for the rest of this year?
So do a lot more speaking gigs, a
Where?
lot more podcasts. We've set some pretty high targets this year. But with the process and numbers in place, we know how much of this we've got to do to bring in that. So quite a few webinars, but really sort of cementing our differences with, to be honest, the typical marketing agency. That's a big challenge for us this year. We've got the right people in place. The formula we've developed over the years to get more customers for business owners, that's in place. But it's getting in front of the right people, staying in front of them, and making sure that when the time is right, they can reach out to us. So just the usual business challenges, but also, got the marathon. Want to make sure, obviously, you got to look after yourself. So my kids, they're at that age now where the last thing I want to do is hang around with their parents. But I have been lucky enough to spend a lot of time with them, and obviously until they leave home, I want to continue doing that. So I whatever I do, it's got to be, so does it make me happy? Or does it make me more money? And that's the green. If something isn't green, I need to give it, serious thought. So our purpose here, the purpose of Codebreak, is to help people and have fun. Does it do one of those two things? So this person who've approached us, can I help them? Is it going to be fun? And so there's one person approached us today about a website, and we don't really do websites so much anymore, but yeah, I'm sure we could help them. But just sort of game they're in, it wouldn't be fun. So it's a no, and we say no. If it's not a hell yeah, it's a fuck no, or if it's not a fuck yeah, it's a hell no. One of the way around. So what do we say? Hell yeah, yeah, because Stone Cold Steve Austin says hell yeah. So if it's not a hell yeah, it's a fuck no. That's our way around of doing it.
Oh, okay, I like it.
And yeah, just really fighting those urges to try and serve everyone, which is just ongoing work. But to do more stuff like this, just stuff we enjoy, because we're past the point now where we were before lockdown, but it's taken us to this point to get there. So lessons were learned, and that's probably our biggest challenge, to make sure that we don't make mistakes that we made pre-lockdown. So you mentioned the word relationship. We talked about responsibility, so that's important for us. If a potential client were to come to us and say, shit, my business is fucked, I need the phone started ringing tomorrow, we can't help you. And so, it's usually a 12-month gig. So where do what needs to have happened in 12 months for this to be the best investment you've ever made? And that's what, things might go up, they might go down, but you need to be up here at the end of 12 months compared to now. And it is setting those expectations that marketing is not a quick fix solution. There are diets out there for marketing. You just give me $1,000 on Facebook ads. Yep, I can get you a ton of leads tomorrow. But you know what? We had one client. I think in a week we got them something mad, like 500 or 600 leads, and targeted through Facebook, and we know how to use Facebook well, so pretty targeted. Never going to be perfect. But according to their sales guy, oh yeah, those leads were shit. Right, well, all 500 of them. It's like that salesperson, surprise, isn't there anymore. And so we have to look holistically at the whole picture. So, okay, if you want us to create you leads, that's great. Who's going to do the selling and closing? What are the processes you've got in place? Because ringing someone up, ringing a lead up and leaving one voicemail, that isn't really following up. And all those links in the chain have to be there. So we work with clients to identify where the weak spots are to make sure this is what they pay at the beginning, this is what they get out at the end. But yeah. So.
Sounds like you operate very similar to what we do. So we don't want people coming in to the coaching club like riddled with fear, in a place of like lack, and we want them to come in what we say is like abundance. So it's generally, we know you've got problems, we know you are where you're at, we know that you have tried XYZ before, but we want you to come in good. There's stuff going on, I'm not happy with certain things, but you're not in a fucking mess. You don't need saving and rescuing. That's another thing that we found to be quite significant in what we're listening for when we are doing the initial connection call with people, because then you can go from good to great. And it sounds like you're the same.
Yeah, absolutely. But before, years ago, it wants to fix, to help everyone. And I was a sucker for a sob story. But I've got some own my sob stories of my fucking own. And yeah, it's. Yeah, again, but that's a daily challenge. But we work on it so we can get over it. But and the guys in the office, they're really nice people, and they want to help everyone as well. So that's why we have a weekly meeting. We had our monthly meeting. That's a whole morning. Every quarter, we'll go away for a couple of days, have a few drinks, and really put the world to rights to make sure we're all rowing the boat in the same direction. But so in our book, the first chapter is called "Fuck Everything Else Until You Sorted This." Which lost us a few people, which is fine. One lady sent the book back. It was like, well, you didn't have to do that, but I was offended by the language search. So that sort of highlights to us that maybe our social media doesn't really get across who we are. But chapter 1 is called that because you've got to know who your audience is. If your technique generally is throw enough shit at the wall and hope some of it sticks, you will get some of the right people, but you'll also waste a lot of time and money getting the wrong people and the people you can't serve, the time vampires I mentioned earlier. So when you've got your customer avatar, whatever you want to call it, nailed, everything else becomes a lot easier. So your marketing is tailored towards them, and it can veer a little bit left and right, and maybe you'll get a few people just outside that reach out towards you, but you'll build a loyal tribe, and the people who you're not appealing to, they'll just go and speak to other people who probably can look after them better. And yeah, so I suppose because my marketing journey started in mass volume media like television and cinema ads, it almost was throw enough shit at the wall. So it took me a long time to realise, generally speaking, for small to medium-sized businesses, they just haven't got those kind of budgets. You've got to be more honed in. So when I was at ITV, it's all volume. How many people watch Coronation Street? Right. Fucking hell, do I want to be in front of 20 million people? Shit, yes. And that's where you could sell TV spots even back then for like 30 grand. But then when I moved to cinema, that did become more tailored because certain types of people would go to see certain films. So when Lucozade, for example, wanted to relaunch, so when GlaxoSmithKline wanted to relaunch Lucozade for like a young, cool male audience, whereas before it used to be a drink your grandma would have, they used the Lara Croft creative. So when the Lara Croft Tomb Raider film came out, a huge percentage of that cinema audience were young men. So it was more tailored. And that's when my journey, I guess, started niching down from volume to let's get the right bums in the right seats. Fucking hell, that was a cool job though. Oh.
I bet.
Yeah, that was Yeah, I remember my first day. It was at Pearl and Dean Cinema Advertising. There was this big cupboard, almost floor to ceiling, and I opened it. It's just full of cinema tickets, and you just go all the West End cinemas. Just go to it. It's brilliant. Yeah, there you go. Long time ago.
Another lifetime. You mentioned earlier about people's sob stories, and then even earlier than that, you said about you're not comfortable with sharing your vulnerabilities. Why?
I suppose a concern I have with social media is that someone will share a vulnerability to help someone. So here's what happened to me. It's a vulnerability. Here's a solution I found or someone presented to me that enabled me to deal with that, whatever challenge it was. Totally on board with that, and Joel does that really well. But I think some people will see that. Oh right, I just have to cry on camera then and talk about how shit. No, that's not what's happening. It's here's how I can help you so you don't go through the same shit I had to. So I'm totally on board with that. I struggle when people are crying on camera saying life's unfair, it's shit, and then everyone comments saying it'll be okay, hun. And it's like please reach out. Please tell me you've got some friends that you can reach out to in person, someone who can genuinely help you rather than just trying to get sympathy from the masses. Because when you what's the film? It's The Social Dilemma, talking about things like the guy, I think it was a guy, whoever, the person who came up with the like button for Facebook, I think it was 2009 maybe. That person now sends their kids to a school where social media is banned. So that like button, it's done lots of good, but it's also caused lots of damage. So when someone is vulnerable on social media and no one's clicking that like button or no one comments or whatever, fuck, the damage could be huge. Oh, no one likes me, no one loves me. And I think a lot of people's world, especially younger people, social media takes up a large part of it, but it's not really representative of who you are and who can help you. And to be honest, a large part is, again, my dad. My dad, I don't think I saw my dad cry once. He had a very strict. He was accused of cheating at school, and his dad didn't speak to him for a year. So he had a loving but very strict upbringing. But when he came over here from India to finish his medical training, fell in love with a Welsh nurse, never went back. He did quite well to grow into the person he became, but he was still always quite reserved. Not like men don't show their emotions. He was never like that, but I just never saw that. My dad had the stresses he was under as a doctor. I could see it, but he never took it out on us. How he never lost his temper and all this kind of stuff, because it usually has to come out in him. It came out in damaging his health. But maybe that's part of it, because I didn't see him doing that. Whereas now, I just worry it's become trendy, and I worry, nothing to do about worrying. Some people are using it as a business trick. It's like, I know you. You're not like that. You're just saying it for the fucking clicks and to... Yeah, so it's a confusing area, shall I say. Some people have got it right. Some people are doing it from a genuine place of love to help others. Others aren't.
Yeah. It's really interesting because the latter of the two people you described is the people who don't take responsibility. It's those sorts of people, isn't it? And I think you have to... What I do, because I am very good at being vulnerable, I'm very good at being like, this is what I went through. This is my lessons. I'm not saying this is the holy grail and what you need to do, but for the women who I work with, they need to feel seen, heard, and understood. So if I'm like this, if I just showed my Instagram like it's been for the past couple of weeks, everything's dandy. Yes, I've been working very long hours, which I always show because it's relatability for them putting the graft in too. But if I didn't show the occasional hair scrunched up, I feel like shit, didn't want to go to the gym, they'd be like, you're too far away. You're superhuman. And I have that enough as it is with being vulnerable. And I also, with coaching, we have to extract. We have to, for example, I had a potential call with a lady who wanted to graduate 2 weeks ago. And I got on the phone and I was like, how's things going? She's like, yeah, I'm great. Everything's fine. And I was like, I fucking know your voice. And you don't sound like you at the minute. Tell me what's going on.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Serious shit was going down. And now we're managing to actually coach her through what she needs, rather than she was just closing the door because she was thinking, I can't handle that, go away, like this is just too much, and if they approach me and ask me what's going on, I'm going to cry, I'm going to get upset. But because if I can be vulnerable, if I can say this is shit, this sucks, you know, people can connect more. So I'd almost urge you to ignore those little crying people that do it for the likes, do it for the gram, and just maybe do in hindsight. It doesn't even need to be something that remotely impacts you now.
Joel does it well, and we'll have little jokes that he'll say, "Oh yeah, you just think you bleed on the inside," and I got to be honest, you know, I'm pretty sure my daughter have never seen me cry.
It's not even the crying.
I'm not even saying that's right or wrong, but it's not there yet, shall we say? Work in pro, like Will Smith, although obviously less slapping. Yeah, it feels like it would. I don't like to use the word authentic, but it wouldn't. There are quite a few people I know who I respect, who I think would see me do a post, a more vulnerable kind of post, and they'd be like, "That's not Andy," and yeah, so it's maybe 2024. I don't know. I'll just leave it to Joel for the time being. But yeah, it's weird because social media is our game, and it has done. You know, the internet has done so much good, and so much positivity has come out of it. But when I look at my daughters, and I look sort of the life I had pre-internet, though, you know, the age of the dinosaurs, as they say, things seem to be simpler and easier. A lot of the battles and challenges they have are ones that I didn't.
What, like?
Comparison. So I used to say comparison is the thief of joy. Who's Eleanor Roosevelt, I think, said that. Whereas Paul Moore would say, no, use comparison to fuel you. So rather than getting annoyed when you see an annoying competitor down the road buy their third Ferrari, comparison is a thief of joy. No, use it to fuel you on, to work hard, to be more successful. But that's stuff that I really can't convey at the moment to a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old. So when they're like seeing friends or other people who are doing this or doing that, and they certainly haven't had a bloody hard life, but everyone seems to be in Dubai, and they're not complaining or saying why aren't we, but it's just shit like that or say one of their school friends, their father's not very well at all, and he runs like not a blog, but he makes updates about his health on social media. And obviously it's awful. It's awful for his family, his daughter. But obviously my girls see it as well. They feel really bad and they want to help. And that's stuff, again, that when I was a kid, some of my friends' parents weren't well, but you never saw it because you weren't exposed to it because they lived bloody 10 miles away or whatever. But now it's there. And what is it? If you were born in 1900 compared to being born in 2000, you know, in 2000, you get as much information. Is it in 1 year that the person born in 1900 got in their entire life?
Mad.
And just that constant bombardment. But then Paul said something really, really sage. He said, sometimes people get annoyed when they see, you know, other people on their phone lots. A lot of parents get annoyed when they see their kids, and grandparents, bloody hell, you know. My mother-in-law gets really annoyed when the kids are on their phone. Oh, put your phone down. And Paul's like, are you giving them a better option? So Ron said, put your phone away. Why? Okay, what should we do? Let's play a game then. Let's go out, let's go for a walk, whatever. Rather than just saying, put your phone down. So my, 87-year-old mother-in-law, I don't know what she can offer as an alternative, but rather than saying, oh, just put your phones down, goes, oh, well, do something. Get them to help you in the kitchen or something. Give them something else to do. So again, all for the positivity about social media. But yeah, I'm quite glad that I grew up when I did. Maybe some people say that's just blissful ignorance, that this shit was always going on. It's just, you're just more exposed to it now. But that's a good business challenge to have, to make sure all this shit, all this noise, all this confusion, for a business to be able to cut through that, to get to the right people and to stay in their mind regularly enough so that when the time's right to buy, that's the company they think of, when they've got all this other stuff going on. And that's probably the thing our clients find hardest with, again, that consistent. You just gotta be, but what if someone thinks I'm spamming them? It's like, when did you last email them? A month ago. Okay, it's not enough. You'll get a higher unsubscribe percentage rate from your emails if you send it once a month compared to once a day. Because, 30 days ago, who the fuck's this person now? 'Cause it's been so long since you last communicated with them. So you're not, well, you will be spamming them if you'll just send them shit saying buy my stuff all the time. But if you're emailing someone who's put their hands up to say they want the emails in the first place, if you're sending them content of interest and value and entertainment, then if they unsubscribe, they're doing you a favour. They're saying thanks, but no thanks anymore. They're cleaning your database for you. They're doing the hard work for you. Oh no, but I can't send more than one email. Okay, we got some work to do. And there maybe just comes down to fear. I don't know.
100%.
Fear of like
judgment,
pissing someone off. Like I had to take my mum to the car dealership yesterday because she was, oh, they've been harassing me. I says, what do you mean? I know your car's up for renewal. What do you mean harassing? Well, they keep calling and they keep emailing. Okay, show me the emails. And they'd called her like twice in a fortnight. But I did go with her because I said, listen, my mum sent something. It's like, call me, email me, don't call or email my mum. And that's fine. But it's using your own personal experience and judgment to decide what's right and wrong. Because I don't like getting emailed all the time. That means everyone else won't. And so it's taking yourself out of the equation and some just following the facts. Okay, I can show you statistics about email open rates, about spam reports and all this. Meet me in the middle. The sweet spot is once a fortnight. If you want to do email marketing, once a fortnight at least. If that's too much, let's do something else.
Weekly and be interesting. That's it. Be interesting to your target market.
Well, James Smith, daily. Paul Moore, daily. You first brought me to James Smith's attention, I think. That was a long time ago.
As well. She's another.
Oh, which one's she?
We've got her coming into the coaching club actually.
Oh.
She's similar to James but different. So she's probably as popular.
Sweary?
As him. Not really. She's not like him like that. But I mean, in regards to reach, exposure, all that sort of stuff, she's pretty big.
Wow.
And she's relationship with food, body image, all the really good stuff that probably could work well in school, And how you said before about consistency, that's exactly the same with what we need to do, in regards to our business, not from a business standpoint, but our clients need to do the same as your clients. And I work with a few girls who do some element of marketing themselves. And I'm like, how consistent you tell your clients to be with their emails or posting on social media. Why do you think it's any different to your steps and your 5 a day? Consistency is one of those boring things that we said about earlier. The journaling, the what's called meditation. I want to finish on this point. So your girls and what they go through this day and age, with the comparison, the heightened exposure. What do you think? Because obviously we can't change that. Mm-hmm. So what do you think they need to be taught, led to, in like, how can we help? Because basically, selfish ask, I'm looking to help younger girls as well.
Okay.
So how can we, what do you think they need?
I think firstly, there need to be any kind of teaching, leading by example. Mm-hmm. So to show, and that's where I guess the vulnerability will come into it. Oh, excuse me, it's cold. I've got the to see the truth about what's involved, the setting of the expectations, because I'm sure my girls be no different. They'd think a cure to anything is it can be done overnight. So, for example, one of my daughters, she struggles with her skin. Sometimes I have to push the door open to the bathroom because there's just so many fucking skin products. They're literally on the floor, in the bath, hair in the bath. Bloody hell. Anyway, all these skin creams, and it's great. What you want, if you've done your research and you say this product works well, of course I'll buy it for you. But not a doctor. Drinking lots of water and eating your greens must be a good thing for your skin, right?
100%.
Doesn't drink enough water, hates eating greens. I'm like, well, you need to be. You see me drinking lots of water. My bottle here, that's empty every day. Always have veg in my tea. So Emma, Sunday night has become ham pie night, and Emma does the most amazing ham pies. Oh. But obviously, also in the pie are like bits of carrots, bits of peas, things like that, and bits of carrot. Carrot, peas, and there's one other vegetable, leeks, I think. Maddie will eat all the pastry, eat all the ham. She'll go back and get more pastry, and then all the veg, all that goodness, she's pushed to one side. So I'm like, okay, Mads, we need to meet in the middle on this and do so. And the reality is that these products, I'm sure they'll help, but you've also got to do this stuff that might be considered hard work, but it's that compound effect of doing it every day. So the compound effect is like required reading it. I don't know if there's a kids version, but it could be fucking brilliant if it was. That doing even a small thing every day consistently will add up. And I think for young people, there has to be a degree of ease. Not that it will happen overnight, but almost like a solution that's broken down into bite-sized chunks so it seems accessible. You just got to do it for a long time.
You've got Stephen Covey's book through there.
Yes.
Have you read it?
Yes.
Can't remember what.
7 commonalities.
Habits of highly
effective people.
There's a habit in that where he talks about mowing, like sorting out the lawn. Do you remember that? There's something it's an example that shows within it. It's basically getting them to feel pride in what they do.
Okay.
And also having a buy-in. So I don't know if you've heard of the app called Go Henry.
That's what I used to, yes, they used to fleece me for money. I'm probably not using it right.
It's basically that, yeah. So my nephews were on it on Sunday night, and I was like, what? It's like they were going through and they're like, I'm going to brush my teeth, I'm going to do it. And I was like, do you not just do that stuff? And they were like, no, if I do it, I get 25p or something. And I was like, oh my God, this is unreal.
That is a good idea.
So it's looking at, so rather, like, lead by example, yes. Sorry, I'm giving you advice now. I hope that's
No, give it away.
But also it's like, she's, how old is Maddie now?
15.
15.
Terrible to think about, isn't it?
No. So many numbers to think about.
Like people say, what year is she in? I'm like, oh Christ, I don't know. You're 20? No, I don't know.
She's been there forever. Yeah, so it's looking at how can we lead her to the answer, and that's coaching basically. And this is what I say to my coaching club girls. I'm like, rather than telling your children what to do in conflict with a partner, ask better questions. Life gets significantly better when we ask questions. So Maddie, how do you think we can get you to have more greens in? Because we know there is so much science, maybe even pull-ups and science papers you probably read, but you know that we know there is science associated with 2 litres of water a day and your 5 a day. You can get whatever you want if it doesn't need to be particularly green in colour. Can we make you a smoothie every morning? Can we, what do you think we should do? Give her the autonomy. And my lady who does my Botox, I went to see her a couple of weeks ago, and she was talking about a situation with her daughter. And the moment she kind of handed the power to her daughter and really kind of seek to understand, the conflict went, and lo and behold, everything started happening in the way that Wendy wanted it to in the first place.
That's good, because conflict is like, so definitely both of mine are at that age where just on principle, it's like, parents, you're crap and uncle and what you say is wrong. And then they hear it on TikTok, someone saying something about 2 litres. Oh, have you seen this, Dad? I'm like, I've been telling you that for like fucking years. But again, I suppose it's hard not to, and I find it in business as well, but certainly with my children, in a polite way, not to tell them. I can't tell them I need to, let's say, reframe it. Because I remember when I was a kid once, my dad was like, don't do this, or don't, you're always being told stuff. And it gets that point, your teenage years, where I'm just not going to listen to anything you say.
Your head just goes back and you're like, go away.
Oh, it's so uncool.
The same brain that holds the problem also holds the solution, always. So, Andy, is there anything else you would like to share? Do you want to let people know how to find you?
Yeah, so the easiest way, go on to codebreak.co.uk, find out all about us. You can read about our book, see how you can sign up to our podcast, get our emails, all that kind of stuff. Basically, a shitload of free resources. And if you think we can help you with your business, just reach out. And let's have a chat, see what we can do. But if you're hungry for more customers, and as we've been talking about for a long time, you're consistent and you're willing to put in the hard work, it could be a beautiful relationship.
And that is what your ideal client is. That is who you're willing to work with, right? Because that was just the question I was going to ask.
Yes, it is. It is something we're really, you're already doing it, and we're working hard to make sure clients know it really is a relationship. This is what we will do to move you towards your goals. This is what you will need to do to help us help you. And even though the service might be called done for you marketing, the people who just fucking do my marketing for me, we will still require to talk to you, we'll still require stuff off you so you can fulfill your potential, and you got to be okay with that. And that's what we need agreeing at the beginning. And we'll do most of the heavy lifting, but there will be some work involved as well, because at some point you do want to take responsibility, whether that's doing it yourself or employing someone to do your marketing. But we want to empower you. Like 12 months later, shit, this is brilliant, I'm going to take it over myself now. I know where I'm going. Happy days.
Love it. Thank you so much for your time.
No, it's great to see you as ever.
You too.
See you, Sash.
Bye.